Thank you. Morning, Mikel. Hope you're not too tired. Frustrating draw for you last night, obviously. And after the Liverpool match, you talked about a big slap in the face for the players being a good thing to go back to reality. So what are you hoping for in terms of a reaction from these last two games when you face Sheffield United on Sunday?
Well, I wanted to see our reaction yesterday, and I definitely saw that. I think we made it much more than the result that we got. But at the end, it's what it is. We have to show even more determination because we know that we have to go to Prague and score goals and win the game. So it's not half mindset. It's very clear what we have to do, and that's what we would do.
Emil Smith-Rowe and Bukayo Saka, both back in the side last night. How much of a boost do they give you ahead of Sunday's game?
Yeah, I think they both really good. Obviously, they haven't played much football in recent weeks, and they struggled, both of them, to finish the game. But I think overall they had a good game.
Obviously, 1 in 8, 1 win in 8 in the Premier League for Sheffield United. What are you expecting from them on Sunday?
What they do every week. I think there has a big compromise, big commitment. Then they fight in every single game, which is not easy for the opponent, and we're going to face a difficult game again. We have no time to recover or prepare the game, so we know what we're going to be facing.
It was Pepe who provided the spark last night. He also did that against West Ham and then came on as a substitute against Sheffield United in that 2-1 win back in October. How important is he going to be in the final few matches for you?
Yeah, he's been really effective when he's come on as a sub. We started him as well against Liverpool. And he needs to be at that consistent level. We know that he's a threat, that he's got more goal instinct than probably any of the wingers that we have, and that's a big boss for us.
Just finally, there's a 9-point gap between yourselves and Chelsea in 5th. 8 games left to play. At this moment in time, what constitutes a successful season for you?
Win the next game against Sheffield. That's the only focus that we have. It's 9 points, still 8 games. It's a lot of points to play for. Mathematically, everything is possible. But we have to put our runs together.
Thank you, Mikel. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thanks, very much. Over to Rob Kelly.
Hi, Mikel. I just wondered, in football, do we need to think about substitutes in a slightly different way? In rugby, for example, they don't call them subs, they call them finishers, because it's a squad game and managers and head coaches can make such a big impact with players off the bench. But in football, we seem to think that if a player's on the bench, it's a big issue. But do you view it slightly differently?
Well, certainly when you have 5 substitutions to make, is a different game. In rugby, obviously, the roles are different when to use them than in football, but it's true that we can find some similarities, and there are players in certain games after certain minutes that can have a huge impact depending on the results and what you need to change the game.
I just wanted to also ask you about confidence levels in a football team. Arsene Wenger used to say that it ebbs and flows so quickly, and one of his famous quotes was, with confidence you go up by the stairs but you go down in the lift. Now, as a manager yourself, do you understand what he means like that? You can just see how quickly confidence can drain from a team.
Yeah, I've been a player, and confidence probably is the biggest thing that any player needs when he steps in on that field. So he's not hesitant to make decisions. He knows exactly what to do, and he can execute that because he knows that things are going to go well for him. The surroundings of the individual are really important as well, what the collective is transmitting and bringing to the individual, and that's what is a collective sport. But the confidence, you can sense it, and it's key for any successful team.
And as a manager, what can you practically do to inject confidence in a player or in a team? Is there anything you can actually do, or is that down to the individual?
It's the way we talk to them, the way we train them, the way we transmit the messages that we want to them. But then it's the individual, and every individual is different how he approaches positive or negative criticism, what happens when they give a ball away or when they make an error, what's the reaction, and that's down to the individual, and we need to understand what that individual needs in each moment.
Thanks, Mikel.
Thanks, Rob. We'll go to Sky Sports and Gary Cottrell. Oh, Gary, you're on mute.
indeed on mute. There you go, that's better. Questions probably make more sense on mute anyway. Mikel, thanks for your time. Last night was another example of creating chances and playing well, but not picking up the win. I haven't won since the North London derby. Can you put your finger on why?
Well, it's clear why, but it's how to avoid it while it's happening or preventing it from happening. That's a different story. And in pretty a big amount of game, we haven't managed to do that for different reasons. And last night it was a clear example, as you mentioned. In Europa League, you're not going to create 10 or 15 clear chances. We create 4 or 5 really big chances. You have to put them in the net. And then you have some margin for things like happen in the 94th minutes where you can concede a set piece. It can happen that, but what it cannot happen is the way we manage probably the last 4 or 5 minutes.
Obviously, Granit last night looked to be frustrated by the goal you conceded. I'm sure you all were. I know you were. Is it important now to try and concentrate on keeping a clean sheet? Because there haven't been too many of those recently, particularly with the big game in Europe coming up in a week.
Yeah, and last night's game, it was crucial not to concede, and we did a set piece at the end of the match. It's not the amount of chances that we are conceding at all. The way we are conceding the goals is pretty clear, and it's the biggest part that we have to probably improve defensively.
And just what about Aubameyang? Were you pleased with his reaction last night? I know you spoke about it a bit last night. You've had time to reflect. When he came on, he made a difference, and obviously he's not started a few games recently. Is that the kind of reaction you want to see from him?
Yes, because we talked before, Europa League, everybody has contributed in different ways. The whole squad has been involved, and yesterday's role for him, it was to start on the bench and make an impact, and he had that impact. He assisted Nico, and he should have scored a tap-in with his left foot, and that's what players have to do when they come in.
When you hear analysts saying that they fear that Aubameyang with his new contract and his wages might be, potentially in the future another kind of Ozil situation, what do you feel when you hear that? Is there any chance of that, do you think?
I'm always positive about the future. I don't want to think about things that happened in the past or compare different situations, different personalities, and I wouldn't get dragged down in.
But around the place, he's as committed as ever to helping Arsenal win something this season.
Absolutely.
Just a final one. Do you think Sheffield United now are just playing for pride? I mean, they obviously are just playing for pride, but is that enough for players to go out there if they know that the future is pretty certain and the relegation is pretty certain?
Well, the way I see them every game, the way they compete every game is to win football matches, and I don't see any different of the Sheffield for a few weeks ago under Chris. But we know we're gonna go there and we're gonna face a tough opponent. We don't have any time to prepare the match, and we'll go there to win it.
Thank you for your time. Good to see you.
Thanks, Gary.